Okay, well, shall we start then? And others as can join as they as they come through.
Yeah, of course.
Lovely. Okay, right. Well, welcome to everyone who's here already to the next of our Wednesday workshops, to the 2nd of 2021. I'm very grateful to Stephen and Tim of Float Media for talking today about the Pathways product that they offer to colleges, which maps courses to careers. They know that some of you are already customers of theirs. Others may be just interested in the concept of putting careers details onto websites and how you sort of work your way through that. So I'd like to hand over to Stephen and Tim, and as I say thanks very much indeed for their time this morning, and I really hope that you get a lot out of this session. So Stephen, hand over to you.
Lovely, thanks Rachel. So hopefully you can see my screen that I've got shared in here, and so you can see me hopefully on video, and Tim as well. Tim's going to join in kind of later in the presentation. He's going to talk a little bit about something we've got coming up. As we go through, if you've got any questions, please feel free to add them to the chat, and then we'll kind of pick them up at the end. I think you're probably all on mute now, which is fine. I mean, if there's something urgent you want to shout out as we're going along, please do. But I think because there's so many people, if we kind of try and keep the questions to the end, that's absolutely fine. So yeah, so we'll get going. So as Rachel said, today we're going to talk about mapping your courses to careers. And let me just get the presentation up, sorry. So if you've never met or spoken to us before, Tim and I run a company that in 2018 launched a product for colleges called Pathways, which allows you to embed careers information directly into your course web pages to highlight progression to future careers. And we've spoken a few times at College Marketing Network events over the last couple of years about our research into the whole area surrounding careers data and engaging prospective students through careers. So it's really nice for Rachel to ask us back again. So we now have over 50 colleges using Pathways, and the work that we're doing has been really well received, which is nice. And so we'll be drawing reference to some of the things that we've learned and kind of highlighting how careers and progression information is such a valuable resource to help you kind of market your college and courses to potential students. We're going to show some examples of different ways colleges are using Pathways, and we're also going to give you a sneak peek at something new we've got coming later in the year. If you have heard us speak before, then we're banging a very similar drum just because we think there's so much value in linking your courses to future careers. But we're also looking at some new things today as well, which hopefully you'll find interesting. So in a nutshell, this is what we're kind of talking about today: promoting your college as a destination linked to future careers by demonstrating to your potential students a clear route from the courses you offer to a real and viable career. So students go to college for a number of reasons, of course, but mainly they go because they want to be an engineer or a midwife or to work with animals. You know, they see college as the best way to get the right training and the qualifications that will lead to the job they want to do. I mean, someone doesn't enroll in a health and social care course because that's their goal. It's because they want to be a nurse or a midwife or a care worker. So kind of college is only the beginning of the journey, not the actual destination, but a means to help them get to where they want to go, to give them these skills and the qualifications to get that job they really want. You know, college is that connection to their future careers. So the way you market your courses should really look beyond the course and kind of map to the careers that students go on to do, to show progression, to demonstrate how doing your course can help them achieve their goal, and to set the bar, you know, give them something to aspire to. And, you know, clear and high quality careers and labour market information can really help students and their parents make informed choices about what to do next. And it can present many options that they didn't even know existed. So you can say to students, you know, if you come and study at our college on this course, you could progress to this career, earning this amount of money with these employment prospects. By kind of integrating careers data, you're adding marketing collateral to your courses. You're adding value. I'm sure you're all very familiar with the push to make labour market information more accessible to students and their parents. I've got a couple of quotes from Gatsby and the Department for Education, but I probably won't linger too long on those, as I'm sure you're very aware that there's much to be gained from making kind of career options much more open and accessible. But I'm not sure if you've seen this one before. In recent FE Choices surveys, the element with the lowest satisfaction rating was the information, or indeed lack of information, about what a student could do after their course. So I think it's safe to say there's always scope to do better here. And through the work that we do, we spend a lot of time in colleges and schools working with students, and we're observing how they use the internet and digital tools, but we also talk to them to understand kind of what they're looking for from further education and how they hope to progress into a career. And consistently we hear these kind of very similar things. You know, will there be any jobs? How much will I earn? How do I get there? And what will it actually be like? And I think from your perspective, you know, applicants who are better informed on their future progression options are more likely to apply onto the right college course by enriching their knowledge and making them more informed on future progression options. You're kind of creating applicants that have a fuller understanding of the route to their chosen career, an understanding of their career options, and you can be more confident that they are better suited to the courses for which they apply. We recently ran a survey with our college clients who use Pathways, and one of the questions we asked was, what did they do for careers and progression data before they used Pathways? You know, how did they demonstrate to potential students the route to a future career? And these were the range of responses. You know, they didn't have the resources to do it internally. They were worried about the data becoming out of date, lack of an integrated tool, or certain tools were just too expensive. And when we speak with other colleges, it seems like a very common response, which I think is why we frequently see this type of information, this type of progression information on college course pages. You know, successful completion of this course can lead to one of these 2, 3, or 4 jobs. It's a bit dry, a bit light. There's no real sense of kind of how to do it or anything to aim for. And will these jobs actually exist in 2 or 3 years' time when they're qualified? And it's not that we're saying that this is doing it wrong. It's just that we understand how hard it is to do it properly. And one of the things we wanted to do with our Pathways tool was to remove any excessive work or burden, you know, to give you careers and progression data that was automatically mapped to your courses, to ease your workload, to be a tool that was affordable, to show progression, to connect your courses to the world of work, and to inspire prospective students. So what I'd like to do is just look a little bit at Pathways in more detail. I've got a few examples set up to show how colleges are using Pathways in their websites. And then we're going to look at a few of the other features that Pathways has, including how you kind of monitor the analytics to see how it's being used on your websites. We're going to talk a little bit about the infographic downloads you can print out and use on things like social media. And then also we have a standalone version for using it in person events, like student events. So as I said, first I'm going to look at how Pathways can be integrated into your website. And I've got 4 different college examples to look at here. We're going to look at Strode College, St John Rigby College, Barking and Dagenham College, and Spartial College, just to show the different ways you can set it up to map your courses to careers. So this is Strode College's website, and we're on a page here for their level 3 BTEC engineering course. So it's a very typical kind of college course page with the various information you'd expect. Then as we scroll down, you can see that they've embedded Pathways within their kind of copy on the page. And what they've done, they've embedded the version of Pathways that maps to this BTEC in engineering course. So what Pathways is doing here is saying, BTEC engineering students go on to university and study mechanical engineering and then get jobs as mechanical engineers. And what Pathways does is really kind of pull out some key careers data just to engage with the student kind of straight away. So we're showing average salary and we're showing future employment predictions for this particular job. And what Pathways allows you to do is cycle through all the different types of jobs that people go on to do until kind of maybe somebody finds something that they're sort of quite interested in. So if I think, great, I'd really like to be a civil engineer, I can click in and see much more about that particular job. And what this screen does is just give you a bit more depth. So it shows you a fuller kind of salary range about this particular job. We can see from starter to experienced. We can see the average number of working hours somebody might do, and the kind of common qualification level that somebody will hold who is a civil engineer. And what we also have within Pathways are over 800 careers videos, all mapped to the different jobs. So when you kind of click in and you look at any career, there's always going to be at least one video. In this instance, we've got 6 different videos we can kind of choose to watch from. And when you play the videos, you kind of stay within the Pathways tool. You're not sending your students off to other websites or off to YouTube. Everything kind of here happens on your course page within the Pathways widget. So as a kind of a prospective student or parent looking at this, if you're still interested in being a civil engineer, you can click to see more information. And what this screen does, this screen looks at regional data for being a civil engineer. Now, because Spartial College is based in Somerset, you see the map on the screen defaults to the southwest, and we can see that the average salary for a civil engineer in the southwest is just under £35,000, which is actually quite a bit less than the national average there. But employment is set to rise over the next 3 years by just over 3%, which is actually better than the national average. And what we also do on this screen, we pull in live job vacancies. And this is not so students can go off and apply for these jobs now, but it's to give this kind of real life context. You know, what is this job like right now in my region? Here are some real jobs available. You know, you can click and you can see there's a job description, there's a real salary. Now, in theory, the student could go off to the jobs website and view that in full. But as I said, it's less about applying for the job and just about to give a context to this particular job in your region. And you can, excuse me, click on the map and kind of look at other parts of the UK to see how this particular job is performing there, looking at salaries and employment predictions, and also the live job vacancies as well. So if we kind of keep clicking in to civil engineers, we can see on the next screen, it shows some common study routes that people take to do this job. And it's looking at kind of level 3 courses through to degree level courses, then on to becoming a civil engineer. And here we can say kind of the route through is obviously quite heavily focused on maths and physics, chemistry. We've got a T level in design and surveying, or vocational qualifications in engineering and maths. And I think at this stage, if a student is looking at what to do, they can say, okay, I'd quite like to go on and do an HE level course in, let's say, civil engineering. And you can click on that. And what that does, that will bring up all institutions in your region that offer higher level courses, higher education courses in civil engineering. And we can click on the different institutions and see the courses they offer. Clicking on that would take you off to that institution's website. And what I should say at this point is that if your college does offer an HE course in this subject area, it will flag it up right at the top. So it would say, you know, you can do this higher education course at our college. And then we're still looking at civil engineers here. If we then look at the last screen, what this does, this pulls in apprenticeship options that can lead to this particular career, you know, showing that, you know, there are more than one ways to get to this job, and highlighting in this instance, there's 4 apprenticeships it's flagging up ranging from level 3 to level 6. Just showing that, you know, apprenticeships are a viable route to your chosen career. And you can click on any of these apprenticeship options, and that would take you off to the Institute for Apprenticeships website, where you can kind of see the full detail about this particular job. So if I kind of come back to that sort of first screen, that starting point, and what we were doing, we were cycling through the different types of jobs that people can go on to do, having studied mechanical engineering at university. But of course, BTEC engineering students don't only go to higher education to study mechanical engineering. They do lots of different things. And Pathways then allows you to cycle through the different HE courses that people also go on to do. And as you do that, every time it brings in a different higher education course, it loads up a whole different suite of jobs below that people go on to do. So it means in this one instance of Pathways mapped to BTEC engineering, it could be pulling out 50 or 60 different types of careers that people could go on to do. And all of this is based on real progression data. It's based on actually what students do after studying a BTEC in engineering. So that's kind of one example of Pathways in a college site mapping to a BTEC course. Now you can map Pathways to any of your courses or all of your courses in your college site. I've got an example here on Spartial College of an A-level biology page where they've mapped it to A-level biology. You can map T-levels, which is an example here. You can map any vocational qualifications, higher education, and apprenticeship options. So there's a full suite of different course types that you can choose to embed kind of instances of pathways for. So that's, excuse me, that's sort of the first example, mapping to your courses. The next example I wanted to show was from St. John Rigby College. So if I just open up their website. So, just gonna have a drink of water, sorry. So what they have on their website are a number of different subject area pages. Just checking you've still got my internet okay? It's looking a bit fuzzy here.
I can still hear you. You're really looking a bit fuzzy.
Yes.
Yeah, still see the screen? Okay,
Yes.
that's fine.
Yeah.
So the St. John Rigby College page, so this is an example of some of the subject area pages that they have on their website. And if I just scroll down, we're looking at one about being a health professional, and they've got a variety of different information here about kind of the health area. And if I scroll down, you can see that they've embedded pathways at the bottom of this page. But rather than embedding being mapped to a course, they're embedding one of the pathways job sectors. So within pathways, we have 26 different job sectors that you can embed on your pages. And it's a different way to kind of curate and gather these careers together to kind of present them to students. So here we're looking at the health and medical sector, as I said. And what it does, it allows us to cycle through the different careers that are available that people can kind of go on to do. And if you kind of come across one that you think might be interesting, let's say we look at psychologists, you can then dig in and see all the information that we looked at before, but about kind of being a psychologist. And all the kind of the depth of career information is the same here as we saw before, except it's just a different route to get there. We're kind of coming in via a job sector. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of come back, and I'm now going to look at the Barking and Dagenham College website as an example that they have. So they have a page on their site, which is kind of, it's aimed at people who don't really know quite yet what they want to do. It's called I Need Help Deciding. And if we scroll down the screen, we can see that they've embedded pathways, but rather than just embedding one instance of a pathways job sector, they've embedded the entire suite, all 26 job sectors. And what this then means is that pathways becomes a much more kind of exploratory tool where people can just kind of dip in and out of all the different career options and careers that are available just to do kind of research to see what they're interested in. So we could go in to the health and medical one and look at what we saw before. So we can kind of cycle through the different jobs we saw in health and medical, or we can come back out and to go into something like building trades. You know, if we're interested in construction or becoming a carpenter, we can kind of come through this route and we can see more information about being a carpenter. So it's really much more open and allows people to dip in and out of any kind of sector that they're interested in seeing. And then the last example I was going to show for now is from Spartial College. So if I just come to a page I've got open for them. So this is Spartial College's level 3 arboriculture course page. So this is where they're talking about their course they offer in arboriculture. And as we scroll down the page, we can see they've embedded pathways at the bottom. And this time, rather than using pathways that's mapped to a course to show progression data, and they're not showing a job sector, what they've done, they've actually curated their own set of jobs that they think are relevant for this particular course. And they've used what we call our custom widget. That just allows them to build whatever they think is relevant. And it works really well. We see colleges using this where perhaps they have quite niche courses that people go off and do very particular careers. And it means that they can build up that version of pathways themselves. Or perhaps the college might run a course where they know their students go off and do very kind of specific jobs which are different to the national progression data that is available. So it just gives you much more kind of control over what you kind of present to students in this particular instance. And I should say, you can kind of cycle through this in exactly the same way as you could cycle through the other ones as well. And you can see, I think the first job there was forestry workers. You can see they've got something about fishing and forestry. furniture makers, carpenters. So you can see they've obviously curated this list of careers to be very relevant to their kind of course in arboriculture. And as before, you can click into these jobs and see that same depth of information that we saw before. It's just, as I said before, it's just a different way of getting to that kind of array of careers that people can look at. So I'll just come back. And I think actually in that last example, the reason we developed the custom widget was in response to feedback from colleges. If I'm not mistaken, it was Laura from Havant and South Downs College, who I think is actually in the session today, who first requested this kind of desire to create a custom range of careers related to one of their courses. So that's really how that kind of custom widget was born. So we have kind of analytics always running behind the scenes and available, so you can understand how people are using and interacting with Pathways in each instance where you have it embedded on your website. You know, you can see how many times they're clicking, which jobs and degrees are most commonly viewed. And, you know, we also give you this kind of high level overview so you can see what progression options people are looking at. And it's also kind of evidence to see that people are actually engaging with the tool as well. And there's a nice dashboard showing kind of top careers, which can all be exported as a PDF report. Also, at the end of last year, we created a year in careers to show some key careers data on a national scale. And this was also accessible within each college's account as well, so they could all see their own year in careers to see kind of the most careers and what people are looking at across their entire year of having Pathways running in their website. So I think it was about 18 months ago, we were doing a demo to a college about Pathways, and they really liked what it would let them do. However, they kind of also asked whether there was any way they could extend Pathways into their social channels like Twitter to bring kind of careers into the marketing activity and link conversations they were having with prospective students. So we developed infographic cards, and they display key job data to instantly engage, you know, salary information and future employment predictions. And the social media cards can be downloaded and used across your social media channels to support your posts and tweets. So for instance, you might be trying to raise the profile of a particular course and put out a tweet with a link back to the course page. Well, you could support this tweet with an infographic about possible career destination, highlighting average salary and numbers on future employment, just again to make this connection between your college and future careers. This is an example from Hopwood Hall College's Twitter accounts, and here they're tweeting about a dental nurse course and supporting this with specific careers data about being a dental nurse. And in this example here, we can see Chelmsford College's Twitter account, and last summer they posted a career a day to engage their followers and to kind of to start discussions around future careers. And you can see they've also added their own branding to very much make these little kind of infographics their own. And then due to the kind of the success of these little social media cards, we developed the idea further and made Pathways careers data available as A4 infographic posters, which again can be downloaded from within your Pathways account. And they show the same kind of key careers data that you see within the Pathways digital tool, but now in printed form. And because these are A4 in size, they can kind of show much more detail than the social media cards do. And the feedback we've had on these suggests that colleges really do like posters. They're a great way to quickly and clearly link your classroom environment and the kind of subject areas to future careers. And we have colleges who use them in their classrooms and also at careers and open events. And during lockdown, we've also had a college who are sending these posters out to students, highlighting a career a day via Teams. So there's various ways we see colleges using these, which is fantastic. And as I've kind of been saying, as I've been going through, many of the new features that we develop are always on release are sort of based on feedback from colleges who are using Pathways. And for us, that first-hand feedback is invaluable, as it allows us to give you in college marketing teams the features and solutions that you really need. One of the things that colleges told us is that they often have to field a huge array of questions relating to suitable careers and kind of options on how to get there. And it was incredibly hard to give detailed responses to questions on any career path. And this wasn't necessarily careers leaders running these sessions, but people like yourselves from the marketing team. So having key careers and progression data to hand is vital to provide meaningful support and advice. So we released a standalone version of Pathways that runs on your iPad, putting all of the information and careers data literally in your hand. You can see some of the kind of numbers on the screen there about the different types of data that's available. And college marketing teams have told us that, you know, this gives them so much confidence when walking into a room of students to discuss future careers. It would kind of be impossible to hold all of this stuff in your head. This is a quote from St Brendan Sixth Form College, who use Pathways at their open events. So that's pretty much all I was going to say at this stage. If you kind of have questions about what we've shown, or you want to kind of come back and dig deeper into some of the demos I did, then please ask a question, use the chat window, and we can kind of go over things at the end if you want in a bit more detail. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to pass over to Tim, who's going to talk a little bit about an exciting new release we've got coming later this year called Pathways Retrain.
Great, thanks, Steve. Hi, everyone. So as Steve kind of mentioned earlier on, one of the things that we're continually looking to do with Pathways is to improve the tool and to make it more relevant and useful for colleges. Now, normally this might mean adding new features or including different types of data. However, with the events of the pandemic over the last year and the fact that so many people are now without jobs, coupled also by the government's announcement regarding, you know, the lifetime skills guarantee for adults, what we decided was that we needed to think about creating almost like another version of Pathways, specifically aimed at adults who were perhaps looking for a new job or looking to retrain. So that's exactly what we did, and we're now in the process of developing our new tool called Pathways Retrain. Now, the aim of Pathways Retrain is to help adults who are thinking about retraining to find potential jobs they might be interested in, and all based around the skills that they have gained through their current or previous employment. The jobs would then, I guess, be mapped to courses and then be taken, that could be taken at a college, allowing them to see kind of how they can retrain and therefore allow access to that new job. So currently we're still very much in the development stage, but what we wanted to do today was just kind of give you a quick preview of what to expect. So what we've got here are some screenshots, which I'll quickly run through now so you can see how it might work. So so imagine the tool be embedded into a college website, just like, you know, the original version of Pathways that Steve showed you earlier. However, we'd expect this to be embedded on a single page made specifically for adults thinking about retraining. Also, just like Pathways, you'd be able to change the colors so that it matches your own brand and fits with the colors of your website. So if we look at this in more detail, what we see on this initial slide is that the tool is asking the user to enter their current or previous job. So we have a list of over 800 jobs in the system. So as the user types, it will automatically find the job that they're kind of looking for. In this case, you can see that they've entered the job chef. And what we can do then is we can then click on the Find Jobs and Courses button. And this will then transition to the next screen we can see here. And what Pathways does here, as you can see, it's found a set of jobs that have been matched to the user. Now, as I said before, this is all based on the skills gained from their previous job. And so how this all works behind the scenes is that the tool uses some kind of clever job skills matching software that looks at a set of skills attributes for each job and then finds other jobs which utilize similar skill sets. So once Pathways Retrain has found these jobs, it orders the jobs by their percentage match and then lists them in two separate rows, which you can see. One showing jobs from the same job sector as their previous job, and the other showing jobs from different job sectors. We can then click on one of these jobs. So in this instance, we're going to choose baker. This will then take us to the next screen. So this next screen shows you a description about the job, as well as some labour market information. But importantly, what it also does is it shows you the courses that the college offers that are relevant to this particular career. So as well as this, it also highlights some of the level 3 courses, which are free to adults who don't currently hold a level 3 qualification. And this is kind of as per the government's new lifetime skills guarantee. The user can then click on one of these courses, and it will take them to the relevant course page on your college website. And that's kind of it, really. I mean, that's the concept. But just really to summarize, I guess the whole idea of this new tool is one, to help users think about different careers they might be interested in based on their current skills. And two, to promote courses at your college by matching up those careers to courses that you offer. And I think actually the other important thing to mention is that this version will be included in the normal annual Pathways license. So there'll be no extra cost involved for you guys. It's just another tool that you can use as part of the Pathways suite. Yeah, so I mean, like I said earlier, we're still very much in the development stage of the product. So, you know, we'd be really interested to hear any of the thoughts that you guys might have, or any ideas about, you know, how it might be improved, etc. And if you'd like to know any more, you know, then please get in touch. You know, we'd be really happy to hear from you. And yeah, so I mean, that basically concludes our webinar for today. I think we've now got a bit of time for any questions. So please feel free to add any questions to the chat window if you've got any, and we'll try to answer them as best we can.
And I think also I should say, if you kind of go away and want to look at this again, Rachel's going to have the slides and then the recording of the presentation. If you want to contact us again at that point, please do. We've got our website and email address up on that last slide there. I'm sure Rachel can pass our contact details to you if you want to get them that way. I mean, you know, feel free to ask any questions now. We're happy to kind of, we've got time, so we can jump back into anything else we've looked at if anyone wants to know anything. I can see Laura's put a comment in the chat saying it's fab, so that's good. That's true.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. Yeah. So what's that? So Mel said, excellent idea, the Retrain module. Do you have an estimated launch date? Well, we're trying to get it out in the next couple of months, as quickly as we can, essentially. But that's, yeah, the next couple of months. We're trying to get it out for. If we can get it out earlier, that would be great.
So there's a question there from Tom. Could you explain a little bit about how technically we match our courses to the embedded module? Is it automated or uploaded? So I guess there's two answers to that. If we're talking about the kind of the standard Pathways tool, I'll talk about that first, and then we can also then talk about the Pathways Retrain option, which is slightly different. So if the question is relating to kind of Pathways, the normal Pathways tool, you can you embed Pathways into all your courses using a bit of widget code. Okay, so Tom's just confirmed it's the standard tool. So yes, so there's a bit of widget codes you get in your Pathways account, which you pop into your content management system. So if you're familiar with embedding YouTube videos on your page, it's a very similar snippet of code that you can put into your CMS, and it'll make Pathways appear on your page. So that's one way of doing it. You go into the Pathways admin and you say, okay, I want the BTech and engineering widget. You generate the code and put that in your site. There's another way we have of doing it as well, and that's called auto mapping. So the reason we kind of developed auto mapping is it makes it easier if you've got lots of pages running from the same web template. So let's say, which is common for most colleges, all of their courses will all run from the same web template. So what you could do, you could just put one piece of code into your web template. So you only have to add the code once, and then you come to our system, and then you kind of automatically map which courses, which URLs that run off that course template. You match those in our system to the version of Pathways you want to show. I made that sound really complicated, and it's really not. It makes it much easier if you kind of want to embed Pathways across a whole set of pages. And we have colleges who do. Sorry, Tim.
So I was just saying it's quite difficult to explain, but easier to show visually. Probably that one, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I can show you now if you're interested. I don't want to kind of bog everyone down if you're looking at kind of the admin area with kind of embedding stuff, but happy to kind of show how that works kind of after this session, if that's of interest. But we have colleges who use both ways. We have some colleges use to kind of generate the widget code and put it in their CMS. Some only use the auto mapping, and some use both. So it kind of, and most people find it really easy to do. So
Okay, cool.
hopefully that answers the question.
So Harriet's got a question. Can the tool allow for language preference selection, e.g. Welsh? Not yet, but you know, it's feasible. It's not something that we've done yet, or not something that anyone's asked us yet. But yeah, I mean, it's a good question, and it's something that, you know, if it's required, it's something we can certainly think about.
Yeah, definitely. So somebody's asked, we would like to have the opportunity to embed testimonial videos. Would that be possible? So I guess depending on what that means, if you're talking about, because we already have videos in the tool, which come from a range of kind of careers video libraries. If you're looking to put in your own videos into that point, it's something that's kind of on our radar. It's not something that's done, but we have spoken internally about the ability to let colleges add their own videos into that. So it's definitely something we've considered, and it's kind of on our roadmap. It's just not available right now. Hopefully that answers the question. Great.
Anybody else? Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much indeed then, Stephen and Tim. That was really interesting, and certainly to hear about the way you're responding to the government's new agenda of adult retraining. I think that will be something that's very much of interest to colleagues when they come out. I think it's really interesting to hear what you've said, not just for the information about pathways, but also just thinking about how valuable careers data can be in enhancing websites and marketing generally. And it's great to hear how responsive you as a company are to the needs of your college customers. You know, it's great to hear that sort of, let's say, that responsiveness to your college market. So thank you very much indeed for your time this morning, and thanks to everyone for attending. I hope you find it useful. We will be sending out, as Stephen said, a recording of the session, so you can listen to it again. And yeah, as I say, thanks very much indeed. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks,
Lovely.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you. Cheers then.
Okay, bye.
Bye.